Today we're taking a look at these college basketball matches, which are happening on Saturday, February 25, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and make sure to watch it till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Also check out our Patreon if you want to access our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link in description and comments section below. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comments section below. Virginia vs North Carolina. I'm taking North Carolina to cover. The Tar Heels have their backs against the wall and know they need this signature win to boost their NCAA tournament resume. For as good as Virginia's defense has been this season, they're ranked 221st in three-point field goal defense. When they aren't feeding back it inside, North Carolina isn't afraid to let it fly from beyond the arc. The Tar Heels have struggled in terms of three-point percentage, but this might just be the game to get back on track. They made 8 of 24, 33% three-pointers last month when they faced Virginia. That's better than their season averages, and if they can replicate or exceed those numbers at home, they're going to cover. Beckett was forced to exit that game after just 1 minute with an ankle injury. His presence is going to make a huge difference this time around. Give me the Tar Heels. I'm taking the under in this game. As usual, Virginia is playing at one of the slowest paces in the country this year. KenPom ranks Virginia number 360 out of 363 in terms of adjusted tempo, which has resulted in the Cavaliers giving up the 10th fewest points per game in the country. The under has hit in each of Virginia's last 3 games and 5 of its last 7. The under has also hit in 3 straight for North Carolina. The Tar Heels have an over-under split this season of 12/16 in favor of the under, which is not surprising considering how poorly they've shot this season. Yes, I expect them to shoot a little better in this game that they need to win as March approaches, but these teams combined for just 123 points when they met last month. There's no such thing as an easy bucket when Virginia is involved. Give me the under 131.5 points. Florida vs Vanderbilt. It will be a dogfight in Nashville on Saturday night. In their last games, a very good Vanderbilt game appears to have been lulled into complacency by playing basement dwellers LSU. Florida didn't get embarrassed by Kentucky and stood strong against the Wildcats. Vandy will want revenge and take it out on the Gators, though, and has the chops to do it at home. The Dores attempt more threes and score more of those distance shots than the Gators, 22% more attempts at distance and 27% more threes made than the Gators. Most of the other metrics are on par, give or take. Florida is better at the charity stripe, but Florida only gets about 8% more chances for free throws. Vanderbilt is 4-1 Austrian shillings in their last 5 games, so look for that trend to continue and for the Dores to fire all their cannons at the Gators. Take the Commodores to win ATS. The trends for both teams in the past 6 games have been to go over. But if you look closely, both teams have a large gap in KenPom adjusted tempo, Vandy at 233rd ranked, Florida at 72nd. Florida tends to play slower away from home, and Vandy plays slower at home. The last time they played, it was in Gainesville, and the game was over at 168 points. This time, though, both teams have tightened defense, and with a location variability for each, I expect an under game and tighter control of the ball. Our total pick is under 147 points. South Carolina vs Tennessee. Tennessee's recent injuries clearly seem to be having an effect on their games. The Volunteers have hit a rough patch, having dropped 4 of their last 6 games overall. But 3 of those 4 losses came on the road. They're still 12-2 at home, including a recent win and cover against number 1 Alabama. South Carolina has covered the spread in 5 of its last 6 games, but now the Gamecocks are also dealing with an injury to a starter, which really limits the Gamecocks' depth. South Carolina has a lot of limitations offensively, which isn't a good sign heading into a matchup with arguably the nation's best defensive team. I expect the Volunteers to close out on South Carolina's perimeter shooting and defend their home court with a big win. I'm taking Tennessee to cover. Even though South Carolina has averaged 79 points over its last 2 games, I'm siding with the under. If there's ever a game that will cool the Gamecocks off, it's a road game in Knoxville. Tennessee's perimeter defense is the best in the nation and will take away South Carolina's strength, which is shooting threes. The Volunteers already held the Gamecocks to 42 points once this season, and that was at South Carolina. The Gamecocks were held to 25% shooting from the field and 15% from behind the arc. Sure, they'll do better than that on Saturday, but the Gamecocks are also ranked number 320 nationally in adjusted tempo, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Gamecocks are held under 60 points again. The under has hit in 5 out of Tennessee's last 7 games. Give me the under 129.5 points. Loyola Chicago vs St. Louis. St. Louis is a better team, sitting near the top of the A-10, and Loyola Chicago is a bottom dweller in the same conference. But this point spread is too large for St. Louis to handle. The only team they have beaten by more than 15 points is Loyola Chicago, and that was a road game for the Billikens. They won by 17. Loyola now is arguably a better team than they were, and the Billikens a lesser one. Keep in mind that LCU lost a 2-point game against Fordham, a top 3 Atlantic 10 conference team. Statistically, there's a lot of weakness in the Billikens in shooting from distance. They attempt 8% less than LCU in shooting from distance and sink 4% fewer shots from beyond the arc. There just isn't enough juice in the tank for St. Louis to cover, even though this game is at home. Our team pick is Loyola Chicago Ramblers plus 12 points. These teams are a little different in terms of pacing, with St. Louis ranked in KenPom's adjusted tempo at 95th nationally, while LCU is at 172nd. St. Louis will control the game in pace, and Loyola will follow. In the past games, we see that theoretical matchups get well over 142, and this will happen here as well. There is a concern about Loyola keeping up their end of the scoring, but SLU doesn't have such a great defense against threes to squelch that far enough. Look for the over in this game. Indiana vs Purdue. Both of these teams have had their respective issues over the last 2 weeks. So what gives in West Lafayette on Saturday night? I think the Hoosiers are the real deal this season, and I'll take them to cover the spread. Zach Edey is going to have his way with just about every defense in the country. There's no stopping him, only trying to match his scoring output on the other end and turn the game into a shootout. Luckily, the Hoosiers have that capability. They're the 25th ranked team in terms of offensive efficiency, scoring 115.0 points per 100 possessions. The Hoosiers also have an edge in field goal percentage, where they're 7th in the country at 49.2%. On the flip side, the Boilermakers are 81st with a 46.4% field goal rate. The bottom line here is that Indiana has the offense to outpace Purdue and get them out of their comfort zone. Let's take the Hoosiers to cover. Like we saw in the 79-74 Indiana win earlier in the year, the Hoosiers pushed the pace and made the Boilermakers play fast. That'll be the key to another upset win for Indiana on Saturday. They need to play fast and use as many possessions as possible, in turn getting Purdue out of its comfort zone. Both of these offenses are excellent, each ranking inside of the top 25 in terms of adjusted offensive efficiency. So as long as we see a lot of possessions, we should see plenty of buckets. If Indiana, who has the 7th ranked field goal percentage in the country, 49.2%, is hitting its shots, Purdue will be forced to keep pace, and we'll see no shortage of points. Let's root for offense in this one. Give me the over. SMU vs South Florida. When diving into KenPom's adjusted efficiency margin, there is a bit of a difference here, as SMU is 175th in the country with a -0.42 rating, while USF is currently 137th in the nation with a +2.74 rating up to this point. The ability to shoot the ball from beyond the arc is critical, as the Mustangs are 293rd in college basketball with a 31.63 point percentage, while the Bulls are 169th in the sport with a 34.3 percentage as a program from beyond the arc. Go with the US Bulls to cover the spread at home, as it seems to be the better option going forward. Both programs have been doing extremely well at pushing the pace throughout the season, as SMU is 34th in the country with 73.9 possessions per game thus far, while USF is sitting at 76th in the nation with 72.2 possessions per game right now. These defenses have been struggling throughout the last few games, with the Mustangs allowing 80.3 points in their previous 3 games, while the Bulls are giving up 82.2 points in their last 5 games. All in all, take the over 149.5 points in this game, as it seems to be the best option. Notre Dame vs Wake Forest. Looking at the ATS records this season should give us an indication of where to bet, as Notre Dame is 9-19 ATS, while Wake Forest is a decent 15-13 ATS right now. The offensive output as of late shows a massive difference as well, with the Fighting Irish scoring just 59.3 points in their last 3 games, while the Demon Deacons are averaging 77 points in their previous 5 games. All in all, Wake Forest is the better program in this matchup, so go with the Demon Deacons to control this game and cover the spread at home. Our team pick is Wake Forest Demon Deacons minus 6.5 points. These defenses have been struggling as of late, with Notre Dame giving up 70.3 points in their last 4 games, while Wake Forest is allowing 93 points in their previous 2 games. Both programs have been excellent shooting the 3-ball throughout the year, as the Fighting Irish are 72nd in the country with a 36.1 3-point percentage, while the Demon Deacons are 41st in college basketball, as they are connecting on 37.1% from beyond the arc as a team. Go with the over 151.5 points, as this seems to be the most likely outcome with bad defense and hot shooting. Boise State vs San Jose State. When looking at the adjusted efficiency margin provided by KenPom, there is definitely a difference between these programs, as Boise State is 26th in the country with a plus 17.63 rating thus far, while San Jose State is sitting at 106th in the nation with a plus 6.20 rating so far. There is a difference on the offensive side of things, as the Broncos are scoring 78.3 points in their last 3 games, while the Spartans are averaging 65 points in their previous 5 games. Go with the Boise State Broncos to cover the spread on the road in this matchup. Both teams are struggling as of late on the defensive side of the floor, as Boise State is allowing 74.7 points in their previous 3 games, while San Jose State is giving up 73 points in their last 4 games. Looking at the defense in the last 3 games from beyond the arc is showing both teams are struggling, as the Broncos have a 43.8 opposing 3-point percentage in that span, while the Spartans are giving up 40% of threes attempted against them in that stretch. All in all, go with the over in this game, as it seems to be the easiest option to happen here.